Hey friends, it's Mary and I'm back today with another process video for you for SpiegelMom Scraps. This week we are scrap lifting Rachel Lowe. So I will put right now the picture that I'm going to be scrap lifting. And I thought this week that I would do something a little bit different. So I've got this great picture of my son Isaac, this is Halloween morning, and we went out and did a little photo shoot because he's a sand trooper this year, and so the sun was out, the blue sky was out, it totally looked like a scene right from a Star Wars movie. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to use that for my inspiration for my colors. But in Rachel's picture, the square blocking, the watercolor blocking that she used, that was actually SHIMMERZ Little by Little paper. So she didn't do that mixed media, it's an actual paper that you can purchase. But I thought it gave me this inspiration to use my vibes and my colorings, my SHIMMERZ products, in these colors. This Caribbean Sunset is going to be a little bit pink, so I'm going to mix it in with a little bit of the Glorious Day, and then I'll make it a little bit more of the muted color that is in his shoulder pad. Oh shoot! Okay, well, we're just going to make a little background page real quick. Oh my goodness, that was a lot. Oh my gosh, you guys, that's so funny. It's just paint, right? What's paint gonna do? Here we go. Let's try this again. Okay, all my lids are nice and tight. So these are the colors that I'm using today. I'm gonna use Glorious Day, Vibes Before Dawn, Caribbean Sunset, Vibes in Blue Jeans, Jenny B Blue, and Night Moves. So these are all of the colors that I'm going to use today, and I'll let you know if I pull out any more colors to use. And like I said, I'm simply going to take these acrylic blocks, I'm going to spritz the color on, and I'm going to plop them down where I want them. So based off of the SHIMMERZ paper that Rachel used, I went ahead and just drew a little diagram for me so that I would know exactly where I need to put the colors. So this is going to make it a little bit easier. And then I have these different sized blocks. I don't even know if I'm going to use this one. And not only do I have the different sized blocks, but I have the edges that I can use too as a stamp. So let's see how this works out. Hopefully this will work out because this video didn't start the way that I had planned. Alright, I'm going to put you guys on fast forward and you can watch my process. Alright. So yes, next week I will use that background that I created. I didn't want to show you too much of it because I wanted to show you the rest of the process next week. So this is like cliffhanger. To be continued. So I'm going to take my blocks, I'm going to stamp down these SHIMMERZ products, but before I do that, I am going to just do a wet wash with just water and my brush on the area that I want the stamp to be, because I really want it to look like a watercolor effect. And I especially like it when it kind of goes off of that wet wash, the ink does, because then it creates this really cool like dry effect, if that makes sense. You'll see, like on the bottom there, on the bottom left, you'll see it a little bit more splotchy, but then the rest of it looks watercolory and it looks really cool. I end up covering up the Jenny B Blue, which is the color that I'm using right now, in the end, and I cover it up with some Before Dawn, which is the black SHIMMERZ color. And it turns out really, really cool. So you'll see that in the end. But right now what I'm doing is I've got all of this extra stuff left over. So I'm just going to stamp it out on another piece of paper and make another background. So with this one project that I did, I ended up making 3 total backgrounds. And then I'll build off of this as I'm using the color. So you get to see more than one process today. So now I'm going to clean it off with a little rag. I
I don't know about you guys, but I try to not use paper towels in my house. Sometimes you'll see me using them, and sometimes I don't. It just depends on if we had some kind of an event that we had to purchase paper towels for. Because I really want to just like wash and reuse rags. And if you are like me in that regard and are looking for a good rag to use, I just pick up, well, I had leftover baby washcloths from when Abby was a baby, and they are so soft and they're really absorbent and easily wash. I definitely use these for, watercolor. And then they don't leave any lint behind. So that was like the big deal for me. So now I'm moving on to the blue jeans. This is a colorings, and I'm stamping it on the edge of my block. And some places I double stamp it, and then in other places I just single stamp it. I basically get it to the point where it feels right for my eye. So the first stamp might not turn out perfectly. Just go ahead and stamp over it again. You can see through the block, right? Because it's an acrylic block. So just stamp again and get it to the place that you want it to be. So now I'm going to wash off the blocks, and I'm actually going to take my entire setup right now and go to the sink with it, because I don't want that blue to muddy up the neutrals that I'm going to use. So I start off with the Glorious Day color, and I'm trying to start off from the lightest to the darkest colors so that they don't get muddied. So then I just do the same technique that I did before with the blues, and I watered it down with a brush first. This is in watercoloring, it's the wet on wet effect, I believe is what they call it. I'm not a watercolor expert, but it definitely would look different if you didn't do the water down first. It really helps the paint to spread and be more of a fluid instead of putting paint down on a dry piece of paper. So I'm going to make sure to clean up in between. And this one I'm doing, remember I said in the beginning that I was going to use the Glorious Day to make this Caribbean sunset color a little bit more of a natural color instead of a bright color, and a little less pink. So the Glorious Day, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's a perfect color to be able to take your bright colors and make them more of an earth tone color. It's kind of like in painting, if you were to use yellow ochre and dilute some of the bright colors. And you can see down there on the bottom that I had done the wet on the dry, and I didn't like the look of that, so I just went back over with the watercolor and kind of spread it out a little bit more. And I'm just going to continue this process. Stamping more color on top gives it even more depth in the watercolor, especially after it's dried a little bit, and then you put another layer of it, it's going to give more of that depth. Okay, and then once that's done, I'm going to go back in and with just a few of the colors, add some splatters in. I really liked how that looked. And I do go back and change up that Jenny B blue color. I add the black color over the top of it, and you'll see that in just a minute, what that ends up looking like. It felt too Easter eggy for me, and Jenny B blue is a blue color, but it has a little bit of a green in it, and so when it was up against the blue jeans color, it really looked more green than the blue. So adding the black took it from an Easter egg color or an Easter layout into a Star Wars layout, because that's what I was really going for. And I loved how the Jenny B blue was still peeking out from the blue or the black, so it looked like a really cool color in the end. And there it is, all dried and ready to go. I went ahead and searched for some star cut files in the Paper Issues shop. It's a free cut file. I went ahead and cut it out, resized it on my computer, and then cut it out on vellum. And this goes with what Rachel did on her layout. And then I'm using the LE Studio Family Fun, I think it's number 5 paper. If you go into their store and you search for their collections and look for the Family Fun collection, it's in there. I really, really love this paper. I got it in my Citrus Twist kits. And I kind of hoarded it because I wanted to save some of it for Christmas. I really love the sweater feel of the blue side. So, but yeah, the color went perfectly with the Star Wars layout that I'm doing. And then I literally am pulling from my stash. So after I cut down this other side of the Family Fun paper, it has these white little triangles on it, and I love the way that the geographic look to it. So I just backed my picture with both sides of the LE Studio Family Fun paper. This little star die cut, circle die cut, is from a Bella Boulevard pack that I had got on Peachy Cheap. And then to mimic the notebook paper that Rachel had in the very background, I went into my Smash Books and I grabbed one that I thought would go really well with the colors in this layout. So I've been using a lot of these Smashbook pages lately because I don't Smashbook and I love the paper and I want to use it before it no longer is applicable to the style and the trends. I end up cutting up the cut file because I wanted more of the stars peeking out. I didn't want it just in that one spot on each side. I wanted it scattered all the way around the picture. I wanted all the stars, and half of them got lost behind the photo, so why not, right? So I cut them out, I figure out where I want to place them, I glue some of them down, and then what I'm going to end up doing is stitching in certain spots on those stars, and that's something that Rachel definitely does a lot. She stitches things down. In order to hide the glue, just put a tiny bit where you know that it's going to go behind another piece of paper and be hidden, because glue can show up on vellum. If you use the Elmer's quick dry adhesive or the tacky glue, it's the same thing, then it ends up not showing up as much, but you can still see it even when it dries. So just hide it. That's what I do. So now I'm going to sew, and voila, it's done. I'm going to trim off the little hairs real quick, and then I'll end up taking the photo with the layers behind it and taping that down. I got to find exactly where the right spot was. The only thing that I regret was that I didn't leave. I ended up stitching the bottom of that photo and then the blue background paper that I used to border the photo with. And I wish I hadn't done that because I wanted a little bit more height. So I wanted to bump it up on foam, and that's what you were seeing me do just a minute ago. But right now I'm taking this branding strip that was on the LE Studio paper and putting it down on the bottom. So Rachel had like a arrow element on the bottom, I believe. But I love scraplifting, because literally scraplifting and sketches, because literally everything, all the guesswork is taken out of it for you. You just replace what they did with something that you have in your stash. So I got some of these wood buttons out, which is what Rachel had used, and she used a piece of flare. All of this stuff is from my stash. I could tell you maybe 90% of what I used, and then the rest of it I couldn't tell you where it came from. Once I get done with a collection, I get bored of using it, or new collections have come out and I'm ready to use the newer things rather than the older things, I sort everything by type and by color in my drawers. So if I'm looking for a blue thing, a blue label, or a blue tag, or a blue element, I'll go in there. If I know that I want a paper airplane, I'll go into my travel container and pull out an airplane. So that's how I think. It's pretty silly, but that's how I think. So I just have all of these little bits and I'm placing them around to embellish, and then I'm going to bring out some sequins because you got to make it sparkle, right? I loved the Starry Night sequin mix for this layout because there's little tiny silver stars in this mix, and then there's a navy blue and a black, and there's some yellow. There's a couple different colors of blue, but this sequin mix was perfect for it. And as much as I wanted to use one of the new releases, I just couldn't pass up this one. So I thought, maybe do I want a journaling spot? And I decided against that. It was pretty self-explanatory that this was Halloween. So I'm going to take my old-fashioned, this is my very first label maker, you guys. And I'm going to just stamp out 10/31/2017 so I know what year it is. And seriously, I'm obsessed with this. I'll probably be using this a lot more than my date stamps for a little while. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to come in with the SHIMMERZ Night Moves and do some black splatters. And then once I'm done with the black splatters, I'm going to come in with the white splatters, and that really gave it like a galaxy feel to some of the areas. And then for my white splatters, I used my Bombay White India ink, and you can get this on Amazon. I think it was like $6. I really, really like how thick the paint, the pigmentation is. So when you put white on the page, it actually looks like it's white instead of this smoky color that sometimes white ink can have. I'm going to rub this off of some of the areas, like the glossy areas. I did 3 different ways. I did the big drops, and then I did the toothbrush splatter, and then I went in with my medium splatters, and that was just a paintbrush that I dipped it into the India ink, and then I splattered it on. And then that's going to be it, you guys. Here's Rachel's layout again so that you can see what I was scrap lifting, and then here's mine. And stay tuned for some close-ups. Don't forget to use my code. It's at the end of the video so that you can save 15% off of your SpiegelMom scraps purchase. And also still know that there's SHIMMERZ products that are discounted in the store. And then don't forget to get your new release sequins before they're sold out. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.